Welcome back, YouTube, to the GOATcast podcast. I am today's host, Big Nige. CW's on the way. He's running a little late, but we're going to go ahead and get this show started. And what a time it's been for trade deadline. Probably the best NBA trade deadline to date. And we're going to break down these trades for today's video. And to start off, I'll wait for the bigger stuff for CW because he should be here in a few minutes. So I'm not going to touch on the big things yet. We're going to start. We're going to start with the lower stuff. Something simple. Keep it light. We got Schroeder to the Jazz. He got moved around from Golden State to the Pistons. Then he got traded to the Heat, and then now he is on the Jazz. So, do I foresee Schroeder being a needle mover for the Utah Jazz? Probably not. He might get bought out. I mean, I think I like the fit of him on that Utah Jazz squad. I think he can do similar things to what he was doing in Brooklyn. You know, a no pressure situation, coming in, you know, leading by example, can get you probably 20 points a game, couple assists, on solid efficiency. You know, that's kind of it for Schroeder to the Jazz. Nothing crazy, nothing too like high level for that one. I definitely think he could help that roster, albeit if you're Utah, do you really want somebody to help you win more basketball games? I mean, as good as Schroeder is, I doubt they'll win many more games. So, you know, this is just kind of a Joe Schmo one. Some of like the lower tier trades of the deadline. Then moving up, got Kevin Porter Jr. to the Bucks. They traded Kevin Porter Jr. to the Bucks in exchange for Marjan Beauchamp from the Milwaukee Bucks. This one's kind of, again, a marginal move for both squads. I mean, if you look from the Clippers side of things, I mean, Beauchamp's a young 6'7" wing. Didn't get a lot of burn with Utah for whatever reason. Oh, it looks like we got another person pulling up. Let me go ahead and add King's speech to the chat. Oh, and CW just pulled up too. All right. We got CW here.
What's going on?
So,
somebody stole my microphone, so.
What up, guys? What's going on?
What's up? Now that we got the roster here, we'll go ahead and I was just finishing up talking about the Kevin Porter Jr. to the Bucks. I started with the smaller ones until I got the full cast on, but okay. Any thoughts on Kevin Porter Jr. to the Bucks? I'll start with CW.
Yeah, I thought that was a good trade for the Bucks. I mean, he's not going to make a huge change or a huge difference, but that's a solid pick. You know, they gave up Beauchamp, who they haven't been really playing this year that much, and they get somebody they can put into the lineup and put into the rotation right away. I thought he'd be a good fit with LA and the Clippers, but I guess it didn't just pan. It, for whatever reason, didn't pan out. But I say, it's a good little trade, and it'll definitely help the Bucks. It's not going to hurt them.
Anything to add, King's speech, for this trade?
Yeah, Kevin Porter's a nice player, a nice little reclamation project. He had his personal troubles. I think Bucks. Yeah, I don't know if you're going player by player. I think the Bucks made a couple of good minor moves. And then they, getting Kuzma, a little bit of an offensive upgrade, which they might need. But I think Porter drew a solid move. Nothing to hate about that deal. I don't give him that much. Yeah.
Let's bring up some of these trades.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I got your screen.
Okay.
But my only thing with Kevin Porter Jr., I mean, I'm pretty sure Milwaukee just wants kind of a scorer and punch off the bench. It's kind of one of the things they've been lacking throughout this season. Can Kevin Porter Jr. do that for this team on a consistent level? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, he was giving the Clippers, a decent production given his limited role. So I mean, if he can do that for Milwaukee, I think it'll be glorified heavily for that team and for that for what they're trying to accomplish this season. So we'll have to see how that works out with them. But yeah, I think it's a good move for Milwaukee, but I don't know if he'll be with them long term. All
I
right.
agree.
Are you going to scroll through the trades, or do you?
Yeah,
Because I
do you
have
want to
some of them on the
go?
banners
Do you
too.
want to go big or we want to go start little?
That's up to you. Whatever you want. I'm rolling either way.
Okay, yeah, I had I don't know if you can switch the
Yeah, whatever
little
one.
graphic
Which
to
one you-
just the generic one for the the trade deadline
I got
February
you.
2nd. Okay.
I got you.
So we got to go with the big one. We can't,
All right.
no further ado, we got to give them what they want. So now we did our little impromptu stream, I guess you could call it Sunday morning, when we found out about this blockbuster deal. And so I'll just read it off. I mean, I'm sure anybody that is an NBA fan knows about this deal and who went where and what everybody got. But let's since we've got our heads clear, let's talk about this one. So the Lakers receive Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris. Mavs receive Anthony Davis, Max Christie, 2029 first round pick, and the Utah Jazz, we don't care. They get 2 picks. Both this coming draft pick, 2 second-round picks. So I mean, they get something out of it. But I think Jalen Hood Schifino has already been waived or traded again, and I think he's gone. So I didn't mean to take over for you, but
all good.
So guys, what do we think about this trade? Now we got to talk about another trade that happened that will help the Lakers, but we'll get into that a little later. But we all know what they have now. So, number one, who won this trade? And does this trade help both teams or all involved? Or, does a team take a back step with this trade? What do you think now that you kind of cleared your head and you know where they stand right now, all teams? What do you think, who won? And, how, is anybody hurt by this?
I'll go ahead and start because I think King Speech had to step away for a second.
Okay.
So who I think won this trade, I think if we're talking short term, again, I still say the Dallas Mavericks won for the short term. But if we're talking long term, it's got to be the Los Angeles Lakers. Just to speak on both sides, like I said in the last video, I mean, Max Christie is a solid piece, another defensive-minded guard who you can throw at various different positions. He's shown in that Dallas game, the Dallas game where they played the Sixers, he stepped out there and he hit some big shots for them. I mean, a lot of them were uncontested, but hey, he's shown that he can hit those shots. Played great defense, grabbed a couple rebounds as well. He looked really good in his first game, I'm not going to lie. It's unfortunate that Anthony Davis was in street clothes for the first game, but, he was already hurt on the Lakers, so nobody's expecting him to be ready to go per that trade. But looking at the Mavs side of things, I mean, they definitely have the pieces. Like I said in the last video, they have the infrastructure. You're just bringing in Anthony Davis. He has chemistry with Jason Kidd and that coaching staff. Obviously, him and Kyrie had played, I think, some FIBA basketball a few years ago, like a while back ago. So you have 2 stars who have chemistry together. You already have an infrastructure around him. You have the Klay Thompsons, the PJ Washingtons who's still hurt. You got the Derek Lively's, the Gafford. Again, AD gets to play the 4, so he's more comfortable at his natural position. Is that going to yield better productivity on both sides? We'll have to wait and see. But, for Dallas, it's just a matter of how does Kyrie and AD fit together. All the other pieces, they seem ready to go. Even Max Christie, seamless fit right into the system. But can AD and Kyrie, can they mesh well? Is it going to be a hierarchy? Is it going to be the first half AD, second half Kyrie? Is AD going to disappear into the fourth quarters like he's done on some of these Lakers seasons? Maybe he's going to be the guy. Kyrie is going to be more focal about getting the ball to AD throughout the game. we'll have to see how that looks. But for the immediate future, I think Dallas looks better. But for the Lakers, when I say long term, you got Luka Doncic. He's 25. You're already bringing in more pieces to fit around Luka to maximize his timeline. You're kind of moving off the LeBron tenure with LeBron and AD. LeBron is just kind of there. He's still very good at his position, can offer some great things for your team, but it's the Luka show. It's the LA Lucas from now on. So when you bring in a Kleber, when you bring in Markieff Morris, when you got Dory Finney-Smith as well, you're keeping guys in here who already have chemistry with your cornerstone, Luka Doncic. And of course, we'll talk about another trade where there's even another piece that's really good for Luka Doncic in his play style. So you have all those things together. The Lakers dismantled the Clippers the other night on their first day back from this trade deadline. Even though none of the pieces were on the floor from the trade, they still show like, hey, we're still here, regardless who's on our roster. So just long term, it looks good for Luka and the Lakers, and I'm definitely excited to see it.
Okay, so if you were grading, what would your grade be for both the Lakers and Mavs? Because Utah, we don't, nobody talks about them.
I think this grade for the Lakers, I mean, anytime you get Luka Doncic or a player like that, I think you deserve an A. For the Mavs, I think I saw something on ESPN where they got like an F grade. I definitely don't think they got an F grade. I think the Mavs, I'd give them a B just because of AD's age and his injury history. I mean, getting Max Christie as well and a first round pick. I mean, that's very nice. But again, if you got Luka on that Lakers squad, how valuable is that pick going to be? It's only going to be valuable if Luka doesn't, resign with the team. So A and a B.
Okay. So, I mean, I echo most of what you said. The Mavs, I see a lot of people saying the Mavs got worse, and giving them an F is just insane. No, AD hasn't shown that he can be the man on a team yet, but he has in doses shown that he can be that guy. And I feel like right now he's entering into his prime. Maybe his prime was a little bit, maybe you could say 2020 was him getting into his prime, the early stages, but I think now he's really knows what he can and can't do on the court. And I think having a Jason Kidd there Jason Kidd, I can accredit, and maybe you too, but I think he was the reason Giannis catapulted to where Giannis is, because when he was coaching that Bucks team, he let Giannis do some things that most coaches wouldn't. I think it elevated his game to another level. So I think he will do that with Anthony Davis, who I think is firmly in his prime right now. So I think that with Jason Kidd, it's just going to maximize what AD can do. Like you said, Max Christie, he seamless fit. He's came in and he's doing his thing. And I thought, watching him that night against the New York Knicks, he looked like a little star out there. So I think all the pieces for Dallas say right now they can make some noise. Like you said, they just have to figure a few things out, but they have a very strategic and smart coach in Jason Kidd, and I think he'll figure it out for them and put Kyrie where he needs to be and AD where he needs to be. I wouldn't be surprised if AD ran a little bit of the point at times. He's got it in him to do that, but I think, Jason Kidd let Giannis run the point back when he was with the Bucks. So, I think that would, kind of change how teams defend Dallas, and it can change some stuff for, this will help Clay. This will help PJ Washington. This will definitely help, Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, because a lot of the attention will be on Davis, and he's not a bad passer, so he can lob it up there for those guys and get them some easy buckets. So I think for the here and now, I think they're better. I just don't know if those guys, Kyrie and AD, have the mentality and have the focus to get them to the next level. But I think with the Jason Kidd is very possible. For the Lakers, Luka and LeBron are very redundant. And this is where we'll see, who has an ego and who doesn't. We've seen LeBron off ball very little in his career. I think he played kind of off the ball in Miami some, but everywhere else he's kind of, he's been the de facto point guard. He's going to have to either because I don't think it's going to work. This is Luka's team now, and somebody said something that made me shock me, but it didn't shock me because I didn't think of it like this. But this is the first time LeBron's on a team where he's not the best player. So he's going to have to defer to Luka now. Is LeBron ready to do that? Even at age 40, he knows his time is winding down. He knows he's not the player he once was. He's still good. He's still great in certain aspects. But does him now having a star like Luka give him, make him want to, do the right things to help that team? This is where I don't know.
I think CW froze.
Froze.
Okay. Well, I guess King's Speech. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I'm freezing, but like I was saying, we're just going to see the character of LeBron and Luka. Are they really the smart players that everybody tries to tell us they are? If they can figure it out, and especially with the other acquisition they got today or last night, I believe it was, or early this morning, they're a team that is going to be tough to beat. So I give the Lakers a A-. I give the Mavs a B-. So, King Speech, what do you think about this trade? Luka to the Lakers and AD to the Mavs.
Okay, so I'm very opinionated on it. We understand that the Lakers got better long term. They got the younger player. It's art. Okay, it might not be arguable. Matter of fact, it is arguable because at this point, one thing you got to realize, AD is a two-way player. AD is an elite. He's elite both offensively and defensively. Like, he was an MVP candidate. He's a guy who should be in the MVP talks. If he was on a team with more success, he would be. So, I'm a little out of breath. I was running around, but what Dallas did is, if you look, I'm just judging by the subsequent trades, right? Because that's one good thing about trading. I don't know if you guys play fantasy hoops, or fantasy football. Sometimes when you trade for the big guy and you give up a little part of your team to get, you might give up you get the best player, but you give up a few players. So if you get the best player and then you make good moves around that subsequently, you recover what you lost from the better player. And in a way, this is what you can say that Luka's the best player. He probably is the best offensive talent of the two. But what the Mavericks did is they went again. And if you believe Nico, because a lot of people say don't believe Nico Harrison, he's lying, blah blah blah. He made a statement: defense wins championships. And all the little Smurf, the little the shots they took at Luka's weight and all that, and his commitment to working out. That could all be posturing. That could all be just to calm your fan base down and whatever. But it could be some truth to it. And at this point, the Dallas Mavericks are going for it all now. The same thing with the Lakers, and I don't know if you want to talk about the Mark Williams deal and those subsequent deals that they made, but so obviously a void was created. I think what's the name? I think Mavericks had because they have a Kyrie and they have a Dinwiddie, right? They have a slew of guards that they could obviously Luka's one of the best players on the planet. But they still have a great guard in Kyrie Irving, a guard that helped LeBron win a championship, a guard that helped, you can say what you want about Boston. I think Kyrie gets a lot of slack for, but I think Kyrie went there and showed them young guys how to win, the Boston guys. I really do. I really believe that, because people got to remember, before he got hurt, that was the first year that they were like top seed. They were second seed going into the playoffs, and a lot of that had to do with Kyrie. Then when his knee, he couldn't finish the season because of the knee injury. But I really think he gave them the swag to learn how to win. And I know that the next year they only got to the second round instead of the conference finals. But so all of the Kyrie, I think Kyrie is focused at 30. Was he 32, 33 now? I think he's focused and trying to get that last run. I think AD at 32, 31. I think he's finally ready to get a lot of credit. Because one issue with AD, and I believe that AD was, let's say 5 out of the 6 years he was there, and if you could consider this a 6 year, I think he was the MVP of the team. But
I agree.
The media doesn't agree. You know what I'm saying? So I believe finally AD said, you know what? Okay, it is time that I get my just due. It is time that people look at me as a defensive player of the year candidate. It is time people look at me as, and again, where they are in the standings, I think that's the issue. Can they go on a run? Can they go on like a 20? Well, how many games they got? Could they go on like a 25-5 run? I doubt that. But if they go on a 20-10 run and they wind up with 45 wins, a decent seed, I think they can make noise in the tournament. I think they can make noise in the playoffs. So, yeah.
Let's keep it going. Another wild one. We had at that same period of time, that same day, actually, the Spurs, my Spurs, get De'Aaron Fox, Jordan McLaughlin. The Kings get Zach LaVine, City Sissoko. He's already been waived. A lot of picks. They got a lot of picks, the Kings did. And the Bulls received Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, Trey Jones, and a 2025 first-round pick via the Spurs. So, big notch. The Spurs had to give up a bag of chips to get a perennial all-star player. What do you think about this trade? Let's just say that.
I got a guest coming on for this one too. He's a Spurs fan as well. For me, I think this was a highway robbery. This was the fleece of the year, if not one of them. De'Aaron Fox going to the Spurs. I'm gonna stand on this before I give my thoughts on this trade. I really, my big thing was I think they should have went and got Trae Young.
Trae Young,
especially after Jalen Johnson went down with his injury. Right around y'all when y'all talked about the Eastern Conference All-Star reserves, and his name was definitely brought up, and that was absolutely applauded. He deserved his credit, all the flowers in the world. He goes down, and then now the Hawks are in sell mode, and I know there's a trade we'll talk about with them as well. But to get him for nothing, you didn't have to give him a sell, Castle. You didn't have to give up nothing.
Yeah.
And I thought you had to at least come off of one of them to make this deal even work. Number one, but number two, to entice the Kings to give him to you, because you're basically just giving him away at this point.
They just gave it to him.
And I understand the Kings got Zach LaVine, but why? Why? Let me just start with the Spurs. So the Spurs, obviously, you get a really good point guard, one of the fastest point guard, probably a top 20 player in the league, arguably. Plays with pace. He can help them in the half court. He's already got playoff experience. He can come in and teach these young guys the ropes, all of that. Like, I get it. I'm with it. He's 27, so he fits the timeline. So when Chris Paul finally decides to kick the basketball bucket, you got your point guard. I don't really know why they have him playing the two when they played against the Hawks, but he looked pretty good. Not my choice for him. I don't want to finish games with Chris Paul and De'Aaron Fox on the floor. I'd rather have De'Aaron Fox and sit Chris Paul down. But if that's how the roster works, who am I to complain? But going forward, yes, I would like to see more reps with De'Aaron Fox, Wemby. We got Castle, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes. The whole crew. They look nice.
They didn't have to give up Castle either. That's crazy.
But it was also weird to me because Castle, I thought Chris Paul was grooming Stephon Castle to be the next Spurs point guard. Then you go and trade for De'Aaron Fox. So
you ain't got to worry about that now.
Is he going to develop to be the off guard that this team can build around? And what does that mean for Devin Vassell? They're going to slide one of them to the three? And then you got it's just so many possibilities with this roster.
Yeah.
But if I'm a Spurs fan, and I know I have one supposedly on the way, he is very exciting. Looking at it from the Kings' perspective, you get Zach LaVine again. You get a lengthy, long list of picks. Great, but you got Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan all over again. To me, this Kings roster, as it looks right now, it looks just like the Bulls roster from a few seasons ago.
Pretty
Just
much.
LaVine, DeRozan. You got a big. You got Sabonis, who's basically your Vucevic, although Sabonis is definitely better than Vucevic. You got Malik Monk at your one, and I mean, like it's just interesting to me. I would think that they would move DeRozan to get more around them. I mean, Keegan Murray is still in that starting lineup as well, but I think they need another like shooter, like to replace DeRozan. Like DeRozan is solid, but like if you can't get nothing for him, you're just gonna rock out with that lineup. So they got fleeced. De'Aaron Fox basically for a bag of chips. And if I'm a Spurs fan, I'm ecstatic. I mean, Bulls fans, you finally listened to me and you finally started tanking. Congratulations. You might actually get Cooper Flag.
They're on that Cooper Flag movement right now. So yeah, I just like I was shocked when I just saw Zach Collins and Trey Jones. I was like, there's no way this is real. But yeah, I mean, I thought Luka was a steal for the most part, but at least the Mavs brought back another all-star and a two-way player and a MVP caliber player, but he's limited. He's got a limited time frame. But De'Aaron Fox is young, and this Spurs team is young, and you have a Chris Paul that can kind of teach them the ropes and kind of reel them back in when they're getting out of control and stuff like that. That's scary, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I saw a lot of people saying that this was Adam Silver shaking things up because of the ratings being down so much right now, and basically people kind of jumping ship from the NBA. They had to make these just crazy wild deals, and now you got Wemby and the Spurs kind of in the talk now. You got, of course, the Lakers are now fit for the next 10 years or so. And the Mavs got something, you got storylines now, because now, is AD mad he's going to go after the Lakers? What if they meet in the playoffs? I don't believe in that, but it's kind of fishy that De'Aaron Fox, a solid, almost all-star, probably if he hadn't been hurt certain times, he probably could have made it this season, is basically given to the Spurs with, a generational talent like Wemby. So I just think the Spurs absolutely won. The Kings, like you said, are redundant now, and they're basically the Western Chicago Bulls of the last few seasons, and the Bulls are in full tank mode. So, yeah. So, what you got, King's Speech? What you think about this trade?
So yeah, my take on and just getting back on you just said Silver is shaking things up, and that could be something to that. I think he could be very permissive and helping or letting some of these deals go through. I think a lot of GMs are now seeing we got to move. Like if we're not in that top 5, we got to move, because one thing historically, even though it's a new NBA with the salary cap rules and everything else, you don't want to be in that mid. You don't want to be a mid team stuck going nowhere, right? So, like San Antonio is looking. Let's look at San Antonio's motivation. De'Aaron Fox wanted to be here. He's almost like a souped up Tony Parker. And if we got our new Duncan Robinson hybrid together, right? If Duncan and Robinson had a baby, he would be Wembanyama. Let's give him his guy, Stephen Castle now, right? Okay, I watched the game last night, and ironically, they played against the Hawks. They led their game most of the way. The Hawks made a big push. Trae Young made a big shot again. I know I know you guys love Trae Young. He is pretty clutch at times. But I think that Fox is absolutely a better fit, especially in that Western Conference where speed kills, spacing, and all that. He can live off the spacing. And now Stephen Castle, right? Forget about him being the point guard of the future. He's a combo guard. He doesn't have to play either one. And actually, Fox doesn't have to play point guard. So now, as long as Paul is there, you actually had a Stephen Castle. You had a Stephen Castle. I forget who the other forward was, but it was Castle, Paul, Fox, Wembanyama, and the other forward, whoever it was, closing that game out. And Paul made a couple of big threes. Yes, Paul made a couple of big threes. He played he was the main defender on Trey. They caught him up in a couple of screens. Trey made the shot. But you have so you have obviously Chris Paul is the point guard who is going to teach both of them guys a couple of tricks. And I think going into the future, Stephen Castle's so athletic, Fox is athletic and quick. And now you got, basically, could that be your little Manu, Tony Parker, Duncan trio of the future? And again, it's got years and years. The old guy is being Fox at 27. You got years to develop that. So they're in that situation. Sacramento is spinning the wheel. They're spinning the block. I know they get Levine, who is actually having a great season. You pair him up with DeRozan. Again, it didn't necessarily make the best. It didn't work the best in one thing, but you got Monk now. See, interestingly enough, you got three playmakers who are not point guards, and you really don't have a point guard in that group. But DeRozan is a good playmaker. He's good to give you 4 or 5 assists. Levine can give you 3, 4, 5 assists, and then Sabonis will probably lead that team and assist the rest of the way. Yeah. So, and then they got Valanciunas to pretty much back up and maybe push Sabonis to the 4 at certain lineups or whatever. So you get a good 20, 25 minutes of solid center play out of him. They, again, where they are in the standings, they could use to make a push. Again, they're a mid-team.
We're going out.
Mid-team. There's a lower mid-team. Is the Bulls. They push themselves to the bottom. So it's rather than stay in that mid, we're not contenders and we're pushing for a playoff seed, but no one really expects us to get out the first round. They decided, let's break it up. But they got a lot of young interested pieces like the Kobe Whites, right? And I'm sure they got I don't know how many draft picks did they get. I can't really read the screen from here.
Oh, they got one first round pick from the Spurs this season for 2025.
And that's the only pick they got? That's a little surprising. I would have wanted to get more out of Levine. Since I gave up Levine, I would have got more than that. And so they could, if you only get one first round pick, and I guess it's unprotected from the Spurs, it could. So you got your own pick. I guess you're gonna. So they'll probably have I think they have their own pick. I would assume. Spurs might miss the playoffs, but this might push the Spurs into the playoffs. So either way, you're going to probably have 2 first-round picks. I guess I don't know if Levine was Levine on a walk year. I believe he might have been. I wanted to look at the contracts and all that, but if Levine was on a walk year, that kind of makes sense to just get a first-round pick and a couple of guys, and maybe again they got Kobe White, so Kobe White isn't interested. But Kobe White, as good as he is, he's not going to be a superstar at all. He's always going to be probably a solid point guard.
That's probably. So I just think,
so they probably just said it. Okay, let's just reset the thing and let's try to draft and be good in a few years. So I think all 3 teams decided. Well, you got one with a bright future. You got one where that group, the Sacramento group, probably like that year against Golden State, and that was a classic series actually. But that probably was their best shot with that group. And, you're talking about a team that didn't even make the playoffs other than that since the Chris Webber era. So they decided, okay, well, let's try to do something with Levine. And if it don't work out, I guess maybe they can sell off their pieces later. Sabonis, I'll guarantee you people will want Sabonis. I guarantee you if, Levine wants to walk, you'll try to work out a sign and trade for him. So, I think this was a theme of 3 teams getting out of that mid-level, get out of the middle of the NBA and trying to do something. So, I would say the Bulls are losers because they could have got more. They could have got more because you're giving up a Levine.
Yeah, with all those draft picks that the Kings ended up with, and they only end up with one. That's just kind of crazy.
A little wild. I mean, I like Trey Jones, but again, you're talking about backup pieces and stuff like that. So, all right.
All right. So we're gonna move on.
I got my guest isn't here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't see anybody.
I'm about to add him to the stage. Okay, he
Okay.
muted right now, but I want to ask you, Rondell, welcome to the show, of course.
What's going
And
on?
he's a Spurs
Salute.
fan.
Hey,
Spurs
And I
all
wanted
day.
to ask you, what are your thoughts on this De'Aaron Fox trade coming to the Spurs? And is this enough for you guys to finally make the playoffs?
well, first and foremost, it's a great trade for us. I've been seeing the rumors for months before it actually happened, and I was praying and hoping because we needed a more consistent guard that could
Mhm.
score and score and be able to correct because Chris Paul, he's good, but he just wasn't very consistent on the scoring part. And then De'Aaron Fox in the fast break, he's just a lot better to be
Mhm.
able to create double teams to get Wemby open, get Castle open, get them guys all their own shots because he's getting double teamed more. And then what else? And then yeah, it came at a great time.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna end up stealing a play-in spot
Mhm.
because like I talked to Naj about this today. If we had them from the start, if we had Fox from the start
Mhm.
with this group, we'd probably be in ninth or eighth spot right now. I think
Yep.
Nigel think that they might have been a little bit higher, but I'm trying to stay humble, say about ninth or eighth because the Suns ain't playing too good, and then I'm pretty sure we can catch them both if we just
I
keep
agree.
playing consistent. Because Fox's debut game, he had 24 points,
Mhm.
13
Yeah.
assists.
Yeah. A lot of assists. Yeah.
Yeah. Most people didn't think, oh yeah, he's not really gonna get a bunch of assists like that. But then he showed them off the pick and roll. He can create his own
Mhm.
shot, get the little midi and stuff to be able to help the Spurs because they had what was it? They had three people in 20-digit points. It was Fox, Wemby,
Mhm.
and then Devin last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Castle didn't do much, because they actually had more people to help out. So Stefan didn't really get a whole lot of touches to do a whole lot, but he still did great stuff with the time he had. He had 11 points,
Mhm.
which isn't that bad. It's not what he's used to, but whenever you bring an all-star guard in,
Yeah.
he he's gonna get less shots because the team's doing a lot better.
Mhm. And the good thing for this, I'm gonna just say this real quick. Devin Vassell is a solid wing piece.
Yeah.
Stephen, obviously, we're banking on Stephen Castle. So if Devin continues to grow and be, a solid uh, wing player, which he is, that's a great trade piece for later on.
No
So,
doubt.
Yep, yep.
I think the Spurs are set up pretty, very well for the
The Spurs,
future.
Spurs basically stole Fox
They
from
did.
them.
They gave
Yeah.
nothing for
No.
an all star.
And then, like I was telling Big Nige, that's the big reason why Fox came there because he actually wanted to play with Castle. I saw that about
Oh,
two,
cool.
3 days
Okay.
back. He actually let out a press release saying that that's really what drug him to the Spurs is that he really wanted to play with Stephon Castle.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we're set. So,
I got
I
a
think
quick I
that's
got a quick question.
yeah. Yeah.
I
Go.
got a quick question before we move on. Has anybody heard what Popovich think of the trade? I know Popovich is still in the
I
mix.
haven't. I haven't heard anything from Pop really.
I haven't heard nothing either.
No.
Okay, I don't know if he's still running the front office or is he just like sick in the bed. But I think he would love it. I think he's a
Yeah, I
guy that
think
can
that's a perfect
play.
player for his style of
Yeah,
ball. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So okay, yeah. And again, 13 assists on a debut night. When Fox is not
Yeah.
known as a assist
Yeah. He's
getting
not.
point guard,
Yeah.
that just goes to show you that there's a lot of movement and there's a lot of it's gonna be a lot of easy bucket opportunities.
Yeah. We're gonna be tough going forward in the West.
Yeah.
So a couple of who cares trades. The Hornets and Thunder traded draft picks. Now here's an interesting one from a few days ago. The Mavs get Caleb Martin and they send off Quentin Grimes, who and a 2025 second round pick to the Sixers. I like Grimes with the Mavs. I think that's a piece that they should have kept. But what do y'all think? Was this a good trade for both teams?
Let me start because I'm a Knicks fan, right? So we drafted Q Dot, and I like Q Dot's progression. I thought Q Dot played pretty good. Again, when Luka out, he was the guy that kind of stepped up into the lineup. Again, you get 3 and D from him. So what they got I think it was a Caleb Martin, right? The other Martin brother went. The other one brother. Yeah. They got a guy who's like Q Dot, but like Quentin Grimes, but a little further developed. So with them being more of a win now team, with Dallas being a win now team, right? You get a guy that's a little further along, and kind of does the same thing that Quentin Grimes do. But the Martin brothers are known for their defense and three. The 3 and D wings, guys that can defend and hit that three. A perfect guy to play off the Kyries, off the Anthony Davis and stuff like that. So you get a guy that's more one thing about Q Dot is he was a lot of little dare in the headlights with my Knicks. So again, I thought we got a steal in him. I think he's going to. I think him and actually he's going to step into Jared McCain's role. I would think, right? So I think that's a good opportunity for him. And I think that's a good move for the Dallas Mavericks to get a guy that's just a little bit not as green as Quentin Grimes. So yeah.
I think for the Mavs getting Caleb Martin, I think this gives Caleb Martin, puts him kind of back in his role. When Caleb Martin was really good when he was on Miami, he liked those high pressure situations, like everyone's counting me out, so I'm going to show the world why we're here, as in the Miami Heat. And Caleb Martin was a big point. Like when you talk about how great Jimmy Butler was in those runs, he always had another guy right there with him. And that guy in a lot of those games was Caleb Martin in those high pressure games, in a game 7, in a tough game 6, so having a dog like that. And I'm not really sure why he didn't work out so well with the Sixers. Maybe there wasn't enough like high pressure moments because they were getting blasted all season. I don't know. But regardless of the situation, adding a guy like him definitely helps. Seeing Quentin Grimes go, it sucks because he's actually been playing really good for this Maverick squad. Carried some big offensive loads in the fourth quarter at times. So I like to see, like Speech said, he can fit in that Jared McCain role, give them a good punch off the bench. And, just an all around, I think it's a win-win from both sides. I think obviously Caleb Martin will be on a bigger stage. So I think his performances will be magnified, where you see a Quentin Grimes where there won't be very many high pressure situations. You just go out there, shows what you got. The East is so bad. They could still make the play-in, especially with teams like Atlanta probably going to go lower. You already know Chicago's selling out, so they could still make the play-in and make things interesting. But I don't know. I can't bank on the Sixers.
Take it from the resident Knicks fan. The Sixers are done. Now they can make the playoffs, right? They can make the play-in.
Yeah.
But as far as making any serious run at it, no. Listen, I love Maxey. Paul George looks like he's in the Jimmy Butler mode. I know we get into that one, right? He's on a decline, right? They're around the same age. I don't see the Sixers making any serious run. They got structural issues. Again, Quentin Grimes got a chance to actually play good, meaningful minutes and step up into a role. But I think, like I said, I get what Dallas is doing because you get the more experienced guy. And come playoffs, I think I would count on a Caleb Martin more than I would a Quentin Grimes. Just saying. And again, I think Quentin Grimes got a lot of good upside. Remember, a lot of us Knicks fans were saying he could be a next Clay, and it just every time he got the ball, like his shot, it's a little frustrating because when you see him shoot, he almost got the Allen Houston form, and then he gets the ball. And it's almost a deer in the headlight type of thing, but he's also a defender. So at the very least, you get a guy that can play good on-ball defense. with them. But again, you're getting all of that from Caleb Martin and more, and it's a little bit more experience. A guy that's been on a few of them playoff runs with the Heat and stuff like that. So yeah, you got it. It was a good move in my opinion. Yeah.
Is Braun still? I can't see nothing. Is Braun still here?
Oh no, he dipped out. But
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
definitely
He just want
appreciate
to talk Spurs. It's all good.
Yeah, you want to hit that Spurs? Okay.
Yeah.
So we appreciate him showing up. Going to kind of go a little quicker so we can get to the main ones. You see, OKC gets Daniel Theis. Stop me if y'all want to talk about any of these.
Let's get to Jimmy.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, I'll get to it.
Let's talk about Yemi.
So let's go to. Let me see. Do I have it on this one?
It'll be further up because I think wasn't it more recent? Like it happened.
It was last night.
Last night, yep, came in last night.
Okay, let me go back. We'll hit on the Middleton trade, but let's get to here we go. So
There we go.
Big trade. He was unhappy. He didn't want to be in the Heat. He's been suspended for I don't know how long. So Jimmy Butler goes to the Golden State Warriors. I guess because they whiffed on KD. The Heat receive Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, PJ Tucker, who's already moved on a protected first-round pick, which is solid. The Jazz get Dennis Schroeder, who didn't even get time to sit down and have dinner with the Golden State Warriors.
Poor Dennis.
The Pistons receive Lindy Waters III and Josh Richardson. I think Josh Richardson is already on the move out of there. So what do you guys think? Jimmy Butler to the Warriors. Big Nige, what you think about this one?
Well, for the Warriors side of things, it was clear they were desperate to make a move, like beyond desperate. I mean, there was a bunch of rumblings about Kevin Durant. I heard, and just reports that he nixed the trade. He had no desire to go back to Golden State. I mean, it was kind of weird that Golden State would try to push so hard for somebody who willingly left them, a few years ago. Like, he could have retired there if he wanted to because they weren't going to move him. So the fact that he left them in free agency, I don't know why you would just think, oh, it's been a couple seasons. Maybe he wants to come back. No, he didn't even want to come back, which is still kind of surprising because Phoenix looks like they're on their way down the West instead of up the standings. So, but no, Jimmy Butler makes a lot of sense for the Warriors in the sense that the fourth quarter, like there's been so many times where I will watch the Lakers just lollygag against the Warriors, and just I know the Warriors had nobody besides Steph who I'm really afraid of in the fourth. You'll see a Kuminga layup here. Maybe when Schroeder was there, we saw a couple of shots he hit down the stretch. Wiggins, I wasn't scared of him, on both sides of the ball because he just gets abused by bigger wings all the time. Like all these things with the Warriors, if you can start predicting what's going to happen at the end of the games, that's a problem. Especially if you're on Steph Curry's timeline of trying to compete. Doesn't want to be on a bottom feeder team. He wants to contend. So that wasn't happening. They were trending lower, getting blasted by teams. Curry's numbers have look a little shaky this season just because he's getting so much pressure because, Wiggins is playing phenomenal, and I know he's part of this trade, but he can only do so much. He's not that kind of caliber player who can raise his ceiling to get up there with those stars. So his production only shows that of a role player. But having Jimmy definitely helps for those fourth quarter situations. Obviously, regular season Jimmy, he's a coaster, kind of goes up and down, but you know what you're going to get. Postseason playoff Jimmy, that's who this trade is for. This is not for regular season Jimmy, right? You want this version of Jimmy Butler, an engaged version of Jimmy Butler, because he's shown you time and time again that he can produce at the highest level. You are going to need that Jimmy Butler in the fourth quarters. When you get a close game with a team like Denver, the Lakers, OKC, you need somebody to take the pressure off Steph, to free Steph for more shots, to free Steph for just anything, so that it can allow somebody else to take control if Steph is getting doubled, right? Jimmy Butler can do that. He can also bring the ball up at times. I understand Draymond is their playmaker, but sometimes he needs to come off the ball too. You give another dimension. I'm not saying this is what's going to fix all the Warriors' problems because Jimmy Butler by himself is not fixing this issue with the Golden State Warriors, but he does help. Will they make the playoffs? They
That's
can
the
make a
question.
stronger push. They can make a stronger push than Phoenix can. I can promise you that much.
Okay,
Because
that's
Phoenix,
an interesting take. That's an interesting
Phoenix,
take.
no, I'm not sold on Phoenix. I don't care. They just moved off of one of their pieces. Trust me. If we ever touch on it again, I'll tell you all my disdain with Phoenix. But yes, Jimmy Butler solves, and I think he also signed a 2-year extension with them. So
Yeah.
again, I don't know if I would commit 121 million to an aging guy like Jimmy Butler, who's
Ooh, that's it.
super duper. Especially one wrong conversation with him and Draymond, and he's gonna do it all over again in Golden State. So there's a lot of things to keep your eyes on in Golden State. But if this all comes together, they can be a very fun watch and a very interesting team going into the second half of the season. We're going to see some playoff Jimmy. If they make the playoffs, I don't know. But just
It's gonna
touching
be
on
fun.
Miami, Wiggins coming as like a third option. I like what I've been seeing from Miami, especially moving Bam to the 4, having I think it's Khalil Ware come at the 5.
Yeah. Yep.
Man is skywalking and he's shooting the 3 at a respectable clip. So the fact that he's been on the bench for this long, it just tells you, man, these bench players in the NBA are lethal if given the opportunity. So love what I'm seeing from them. Obviously, Tyler Hero doing his thing at the point guard position. Not too much passing, but still passing enough. His numbers are going up. So I mean, he's making some. He's an all-star. I mean, over some people, maybe like a Trae Young,
Trae
which is kind of
Young
crazy.
should have been an all-star.
It's crazy to me, but he's an all-star and he's playing very, very well. So adding a guy like Wiggins, a guy like Kyle Anderson to that definitely helps. Definitely takes the pressure off of a Hero, off of a Bam. You got another consistent 16 to 20 point per game scorer. You don't have a lot of pressure on Wiggins. He can just come in and hoop. That's his best. That's his strong suit. Slow-mo Kyle Anderson. He fits that Heat culture, a versatile defender. He ain't gonna really shoot the ball like that, but I mean, if he can do so many other things great for you, I'm sure there's a place for him in Miami. I know PJ went to the Raptors. I know he's getting tossed around like Dennis Schroeder. Poor PJ, I guess, as well.
It's sad. It's sad.
He might as well just go ahead and hang it up because that money that's getting is just salary filler for the next team. So cool that they got a first round pick. I touched on on the Dennis Schroeder situation for the Jazz. Don't think he's going to move the needle for them too much. I don't think they would want him to because I think they should just go to the lottery at this point. So maybe buy him out, let him go where he wants to go because he chose he got to go play with the Warriors for a hot second, and then that was it. So maybe he needs to just get bought out and just choose his next team very carefully. But ain't nothing to talk about with the Pistons. Shout out Jimmy Butler, man. Hopefully he makes it work.
We'll see. How about you, King Speech? What do you think about this trade?
Okay, so there's a word, there's a theme, there's a few things here, right? So I'm gonna start with a word, nostalgia. Nostalgia. And I think a lot of you guys that talk about Jimmy, I think his best look, he might still got might be some bark in that old dog, but I think his best days are behind him. And now, I think the Golden State Warriors are a nostalgia act as well. And this might seem like a great move. I think the Warriors are one of the biggest losers. I think they might be the biggest loser in the trade deadline moves. Those that participated, because number one, I think there's something you didn't touch on, Big Nas, and that was a great breakdown. But you didn't touch on the fact that Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler will be in the same locker room. Now, here's the thing. Here's a challenge for Mr. Stephon Curry. And this is something I thought about today, right? Stephon Wardell. What's his middle name?
Wardell
Curry. Okay, yeah, I think it's named after his dad, right? Okay, like my son is a middle name there for me. Steph gonna have to be a leader because we always. I was on Carcito for life last night, and he said, I got the countdown for when Jimmy and Draymond get a tussle in the locker room, and this is on Mr. Curry. It's time for you to be a vocal leader. Clay ain't there no more. Kerr is not that guy. Kerr probably a little shell shocked for getting snuffed by Jordan back in the day. We cannot have, and because look, this is why they don't have Jordan Poole, right? This is why they don't have Jordan Poole. I know Draymond is your dog. I know he's the big watchdog, but you got two eccentric alpha male and again, they stir it up, right?
Yeah.
Jimmy, I was with when Jimmy stirred it up in the Minnesota Timberwolves locker room back in the day. I would say he was right. Ironically, Wiggins went to take his place down in Miami, and I think, and I also want to say Papa Pat did an excellent job. But now you're 36 going on. The production is going to get low. Number one, Golden State have a lot of structural issues. They need a real big man in there. They haven't addressed that. You're going to play teams. You're going to play. Let's just say they play an OKC in the first round. You trust them against OKC's first round? And it's funny because I watched that OKC game last night, right? I watched Phoenix have a great first half without KD. They were up by 10, and next thing you know, OKC closed up to 3 at halftime. A 3-point deficit at halftime. OKC won that game by 30-something points. OKC is a machine. OKC right now is a machine. And now they get Mr. Chet Holmgren back this Friday. So, listen, I don't think there's any chance of Golden State making a run. There's a very strong chance of them missing the playoffs altogether. I don't even know if they own their draft right to their draft picks. I know they traded draft picks away to get Butler. This could be disastrous, but it's on Steph Curry to make sure none of the locker room issues. And I get Jimmy. Look, Jimmy's gonna give you 16, 17. He's gonna give you 60, but he's no longer speedy Jimmy. He's no longer lockdown defender Jimmy. He's gonna be a reduced version of the Jimmy we known, and this has been the issue. Papa Pat saw it. He was not going to give, and see, that's the other theme that I wanted to get on, how player empowerment, the player empowerment movement is over. But then a guy like Jimmy gets his way. Well, he got his way from a desperate Golden State team. And there's one last thing I was thinking about. I think Curry is determined to retire a Warrior. I think he wants to play his entire career with the Warriors. So as long as the Warriors will have him, he will stay there. I don't know if he got a no trade clause in any contract he has, but he should have it. He should. There's no way Golden State should ever trade him. But I think his mind, because remember what he said, don't make any moves that will hinder the future on behalf of trying to make a run here. And I think what he was thinking when he said that is he wants to probably get a piece of the Warriors after he retires. And that'll probably be his long-term thing. Looking to the future, that'll be his long-term investment. I want to own at least a half a percentage of this, I'm the reason why we got this building and all this, that, and the third. So he's thinking of his post-playing career. He's thinking of retiring a Warrior, and he don't want anything to hinder what the Warriors will be in his post-playing days. So I think, again, he's going to have to be a leader to make sure, since they had to make this move, and since they had to get Mr. Butler. I mean, listen, you're going to pay a 38-year-old Jimmy Butler. Remember, he has a whole nother year left, and then they extended him 2 years past that. He's going to be about 38, 39, and you'll be paying him over $60 million. So this move, long-term, short-term, I don't think it helps him enough. Long-term, I think it's going to be a disaster. You're not going to be able to, Papa Pat was able to move this old guy with that contract and get good pieces back that can help his team now. I think Papa Pat is a genius. Pat Riley is a genius. He left my Knicks 30 years ago and went and turned Miami into one of the better franchises in the league. So he did his thing. He played it perfectly. He didn't just give in. He sent the player where he wanted to go, even though Butler was fronting like he didn't want to go to Golden State, and fronting like he didn't want to sign the extension. Listen, somebody gonna give you $121 million and you're not even worth it. You better take his agent will probably hit him upside the head. You bet. I need that commission check. So, I think a big loser here. And then again, right? Utah, poor Dennis, right? Poor Dennis. Trade deadline is modern day slavery, and even though it's kind of crazy to say, brother, you're getting you're getting a check, bro. I know it's hard to keep moving around because your girl is probably like, really, again? We got to get a new apartment. We gotta move to Utah. I think they're probably gonna buy him out or whatever. And
he'll end up on playoff team, probably.
The
Yeah.
Rockets.
You said
Yeah.
Rockets.
That's my guess. If I was the Rockets,
I mean, that's
I
a
would
good. I mean, that's a good play for him.
Yeah, it's a good play for him. And again, hey, at least you can go where you want. And this time, this is telling the young guys, man, go where you're going to be appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Go where you're going to get the bag. Go where you're going to get the bag, of course. But go where you're going to stop chasing rings. That's the other thing. All these guys that chase rings, a lot of these guys that chase rings never got it. They chase rings in their prime, and you go to a team that really don't maximize what you do. Go where the coach is going to use you, where you're going to be inexpendable. They're not just going to move you for the next thing. He thought that the Golden State situation was going to work out. Same thing with Buddy Hield. I mean, I really think that the small ball eras they play. See, it was good to play small ball when you were young and quick. Now your pieces are old. You can't play small ball. And then Golden State, which is so weird because I thought Jonathan Kuminga was on his way up. They got young pieces that they don't play. All of a sudden, Jackson. Yeah, also Jackson Davis is out of the rotation. His minutes go down. I don't understand what they're doing as far as developing their players. And then these old guys are gonna have to, they're gonna have to relent. But yeah, this is a terrible move for Golden State. Miami won this, and then Detroit and Utah were just. They're the money absorbers. Yeah, they'll whatever the money needs to, they absorb the money. But Detroit, again, didn't help their roster anyway. But Detroit is actually, they're actually still in that playoff mix. So they have a great season this year as far as their expectations. So, whatever they did, if they can absorb that money because they got a lot of young guys and they're not capped out. So, that salary cap means a lot to these moves. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And just real quick, because I know Big Nige has to go. I wanted everybody to be a part of the what's it called? You
talking about like the All-Star stuff?
The community. We do it every week now. We do the community quarter.
Okay.
So I wanted him and to be a part of that. So hold on one second. So with 54% of the winning the poll, they want to know about the most disrespectful moment in NBA history. Now, King Speech, if you have time, we can continue on with the trade stuff because I think we hit the major ones. Maybe DeAndre Hunter to the Cleveland Cavs. That's a pretty big one. I think that really helps Cleveland. But let's get back to Community Quarter. Thank you guys for voting. Thank people for coming out, checking the poll this week. So the most disrespectful moment in NBA history. Now, like I said, with these, you don't have to deep dive. You don't have to go in and, pull up numbers and things of that nature. But what is a moment that was just so disrespectful by a player that you were like, man, that's you didn't have to do that to him? I got a couple, but if you guys need a few to think about it, I'll go first.
I got two on top of my dome.
Okay.
You got JR.
Go ahead.
You got the JR Reed elbow on AC Green back in the day. When he elbowed with J.R. Reed, you from North Carolina, you should remember this one. He elbowed Mr. Virgin, Mr. Iron Man. Now that's the crazy part, right? He knocked his teeth out, and Draymond Green finished that game, bro. This was Knicks versus I believe Draymond was with the Hornets because remember Draymond. I mean not Draymond. AC Green, Mr. AC Green was traded to the Hornets in the Kobe Bryant trade. So I believe. I don't know. Was he? No, he wasn't. It was D-Rock, so straight up. But Draymond Green was with it, and J.R. Reed was with the Knicks, and it was a vicious elbow. And AC Green picked his teeth off the ground and finished the game. I want you youngsters that make all these millions and can't play because your fingernail got caught in something or you got a little hip point or whatever, to understand that man was the Cal Ripken of him and Mikal Bridges of this era, right? Mr. Iron Man. AC Green, because AC Green didn't have to finish that game. He still would have had credit for not missing a game. He played in the game, And I see STI Sports Talk only got my other one, the step over Lou, yeah. But AC, but you cannot start with that. J.R. Reed hit him with a vicious elbow, knocked his teeth out. He picked them teeth off the ground and finished the game, bro. Put a mouthpiece and finished the game, yeah. So that was one. Those were two. And then obviously the AI step over. I think everybody probably.
Yeah, that's the common one. I wanted to go with the Big Nine. You got one?
Yeah, I got two that comes to mind just thinking about it.
Okay, go ahead.
First one, LeBron James when he was in Miami, when he jumps over John Lucas III for that lob where he jumps. I think John Lucas like 5'9", 5'10", something like that. Jumps clear over him for that lob. Thought that was disrespectful because he didn't need to jump over the dude. He just did it. And then of course everyone knows this one where Shaq dunks on Chris Dudley from the Suns. Yeah. He dunks on him, pushes him down. The dude gets so disrespected. He gets
Chris Dudley was on my neck when he did that. Yeah,
I would have been so mad if somebody did me like that. Because he had to push him down too. He just
he dunked on him, and I know it hurt because Shaq's a big dude. But the fact that you have to push him, you made it look so cool. Like he just throws the ball at him because he's so bad. That's probably the one that comes to mind for me.
Okay, and I'm surprised nobody said this. Two of them, but I got the main one. DeAndre Jordan over Brandon Knight.
That was a big one.
Obliterated him. I think that ended Brandon Knight's career because he just in the face he made afterwards, just like I just killed a man like that. And then also LeBron on Jason Terry when he got his revenge on.
I remember that.
Yeah, got his final revenge, right? Got a little final revenge.
That was another murder scene after he did that. But the biggest murder scene, and I'm sorry, King's Speech, I know you were a Knicks fan, but when Scottie Pippen dunked on Patrick Ewing, there looked over the top of him. The
game we had 13 points. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was a good one. Hey, there's another one we didn't. Remember when Kobe had the nuts in the face on Dwight Howard when he was still with the Orlando Magic?
Yeah, that was Orlando.
That was a vicious. But that poster is, when you post that poster, that's when you really want to stick it to a guy. That was a hell of a dunk. Those dunk-ons, man, back then.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of them, really. Most of them have been mostly dunks over people and sports talk stations.
That 2016 block from Curry, from LeBron, on Curry was definitely, he was talking smack to him afterwards too. But when you had mentioned Brandon Knight, it also made me think of Kyrie in the All-Star game, in the Rising Stars game they had, where he mixed him up in and out.
I remember that.
Fell, and then he that was so.
That's another one. Yeah, Brandon Knight been on the wrong end of a lot of disrespectful moments. He was a good player. I hate that he never panned out really.
You also got the Chris Childs two-piece on Kobe. That was another one. I always thought Chris Childs looked just like Nas when he went back when he was with the Knicks. I thought he was a spitting image of Nas, but that two-piece to Kobe, R.I.P.
I mean, Kobe ate those. He ate those punches.
He ate them. He ate them, but Chris Childs. I mean, just flat out. My mouth hit the floor when I saw that.
That was a crazy moment. Yeah. But yeah,
listen, my Knicks got a lot. My Knicks got a lot of them, especially back in the '90s. My Lord, P.J. Brown and Charlie Ward. Woo!
Eddie
Perry.
What about another one was when Isaiah Thomas punched Rick Mahorn and he just stood there looking like him like, did you even? Like, you just give me baby taps. He just stood there and looked at him like...
Yeah, I remember. Isaiah was a bulldog before, Rick Mahorn was something. Also Kermit Washington versus Rudy Tomjanovich. And they damn near killed the league. That damn near killed Rudy, killed poor Rudy. Thank God he would recover and become a great coach. But it damn near killed the league because obviously the racial tones and all that. You didn't want to see that type of violence. Yeah, so Danny Ferry 2-piece on Jordan. All right, well, listen, that was Duke versus Carolina, so whatever. Don't AFC. I don't think I'm that big of a Jordan fan. I don't even remember it, but yeah. If Duke get one on Carolina, I ain't. Also, we beat y'all this weekend. We beat the hell out of y'all this weekend. Y'all know that, right? Cooper Flag is that guy.
We're here talking about.
The only thing that happened this weekend was Luka was traded to the Lakers. That's all that happened.
Gotcha. What about the Royal Rumble, man? Go shout out to Jay Uso.
Oh yeah, that was good. I mean, I watched that in the Knicks and Lakers, and then I got the call from everybody about the late night trade.
I wanted to jump on with y'all, but I was already live streaming with on All Ball TV. So they gave us after was just one guy coming on. So he's like, "Hey guys, come on and help me talk."
I was very unprepared, but
so we all kind of were. Yeah, we all were. We were sitting there on live stream when the news broke, and everybody went to their phone. And the shares get hacked. Everybody said the same thing. It's crazy. Now, I also want to say listen, bro, I don't know how long y'all been NBA fans, but I've been NBA fans in 40 years. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you this is the most lit trade deadline ever. Yeah. There has been trade deadlines where the biggest name move was Jay Crowder. Okay, so to get what we got this trade deadline is, Luka.
If anyone told me at the beginning of the season that Luka would be moved by trade deadline, you would probably look at them like they're crazy.
It just came out of nowhere.
Unless they're playing 2K, running a 2K simulation.
Basically.
Because that's what the 2K would be doing.
Yeah.
But on this theme, it just shows you that a lot of these GMs have finally grew up here. Because I always say a lot of times in the past they played it safe, right? You don't want to really upset the apple cart too much. You don't want to get I guess when Nico decided I can let go of Luka and I could go for something right now. Again, listen, I don't remember Luka had a non-contact, and I know it was a calf strain. Right, I know it was Malice in the Palace. Yeah, that was definitely up there.
That was just crazy. That was
another league altering. This is kind of why some of the policies you see to this day. Shout out to Ron Artest, man. That's New York local. Matter peace. He's a New York local, and it was funny because the fight, the melee itself wasn't that big a deal. Him and Ben Wallace, I think they had enough respect for each other. Talking about two guys that won Defensive Player of the Year, so they,
two scary guys though.
Two very scary guys. Again, man, listen, man, these are the guys that Draymond Green wanted no part of, and I think, but that's why a lot of the toughness of the league has been legislated out. A lot of these tough guy players, look in hockey, in the NHL, you cannot win without tough guys. Here. They pretty much, and I think do think there's still a place in the league for tough guys, for the enforcer. But it's what they wanted this league to be a little bit more finesse and all that. But you definitely Malice in the Palace. That was obviously they put the dress code in place that they never officially lifted. They never, you noticed that, right? They never officially lifted the dress code. But once you got away from the hip hop style and guys got more into this high fashion stuff, Russell Westbrook can come to the game in a dress now, right? So, but they never officially lifted the dress. I mean, I don't remember them saying, but I know that was also a stern rule. Maybe so Silva being Mr. Player commissioner, But and again. The dress code was the dress code, but there was an unofficial dress code. Like guys like Jordan and them always came to the game in suit and ties anyway, So I didn't understand why they had to put it in, but then you made a mandatory. Again, it's all about the image, and but that was.
Dang, Dallas is killing them.
That Dallas looking good tonight?
Maybe playing tonight?
I believe so.
I mean, maybe this might have motivated Klay Thompson. He out there got 25 in the third.
Good God.
So yeah,
let's see if Dallas can make that run. You know, a lot of guys that made trades made, you know, they made little moves. Like my Knicks got rid of Jericho Sims. You know, not, you know, just it's needed because I think honestly, Huck Porty. If you look at Huck Porty the other night, he guarded Scotty Barnes. The numbers was 1 for 9. Scotty Barnes to me is a borderline all-star. So to have a guy that can play the 5, switch over to the unofficial 4 for Toronto and play good defense like that, I do think Milwaukee got a guy that can give them some good center minutes. Sims, again, I know, you know, he's just Jericho Sims, but he's actually statistically the best rim protector. He has a lot, like he's a pogo stick. Y'all saw him in the dunk contest. You know, I know he didn't do the greatest, but he can jump. He can absolutely jump, and he's a pogo stick. Again, your backup third center, I guess that's a good move for. I think Milwaukee got a couple of nice minor pieces that can get their rotation, and you know.
Yeah, we didn't hit on it, but I was just trying to get everybody so we can get that community quarter in.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
So Big Nige, if he has to drop off, we can, you know.
All right. Before I drop off, let me just address the Bucks with the Kuzma trade, and I'm gonna touch on the Cleveland one, and then I'm gonna jump off. But yeah, I think Kuzma is definitely good for the Bucks. Like I said, I don't know if he's long term because everybody knows Kuzma knows Kuz is gonna Kuz. So there's gonna be moments where he looks really good. He's gonna fit in that system. He's gonna hit some big shots. You know, maybe get a clutch block, maybe a steal, a deflection, something along those lines. He can rebound. He's a solid rebounder for his size. He can allow the Bucks to kind of play in different ways. They can kind of go smaller because he's about a 6'8-ish, 6'9" wing. So, you know, he adds to them, of course. I mean, obviously you weren't getting that much from Middleton just as he's still continuing to get through his injuries and getting himself kind of back into, you know, his peak. But no, that's good for the Bucks. Again, I don't know if him and Giannis will coexist because just like LeBron and like other star players, you got a guy out there who's just wilding. If he doesn't know how to like rein himself in, he's gonna get, like I said, games where he's gonna look really good, and other games like, why is this guy out here? That's just what you get with Kuzma. But overall, he's gonna be a very positive for this team. So that's it for the Bucks. I will say that DeAndre Hunter to the Cavs is crazy. They finally get a small forward who actually fits them and actually can play both sides of the ball consistently. Karis LeVert was good, but again, his 3 ball is a little inconsistent, and that's kind of what the missing piece was for them. I mean, obviously, there's other things that led to that as well, but you know, you lose Gorgeous Niang, who I thought was a solid stretch 4 for them. You know, kind of a awkward built guy, but put his body on the line, will move his feet, play solid defense, can hit big shots. You know, so the Cavs will miss LeVert and Niang, but you're bringing in DeAndre Hunter. I don't know if they're planning on starting him. I assume they'd be planning on starting him because he addresses so much more. He allows him to be more switchable. He's a great defender, hit big shots, and they got bigger. They got bigger. The Cavs, who are already big, they got bigger. So factor all that stuff when you're going to have to play a team like the Boston Celtics or a switchable team like the New York Knicks. Definitely another good piece for them. So looking forward to how he looks with this Cleveland Cavs roster.
Yeah, I thought that was a smart move for them, and the fact that the Hawks were willing to trade him, that they just made Cleveland really tough, and I think this matches them up even better with Boston, in my opinion, because you know they're big, they're huge.
The rich get richer.
Yeah, and this trade during this trade deadline, definitely the rich got richer, and the poor just are hoping for that lottery ball to fall number 1 for Cooper Flag or whoever. So appreciate you, Big Nige. I'm gonna put the link in if anybody wants to hop on and talk about the trades. I got a little bit more time.
All right, y'all.
All right.
All right, Big Night, salute.
Salute.
All right.
So if anybody's in here that y'all want to hop on and talk about these trades, the link is in the chat. We didn't go through all of them because there's a lot, and
Yeah, it's a lot. I do want to talk about the Hunter trade. I think Cleveland, and for a team that I feel like we kind of own because we beat them 2 years ago in that gentleman sweep. I think they officially made themselves the best. I know the records say they're the best, but I think they're officially the best talented team as far as talent. Like they didn't lose. They upgraded. I like Caris LeVert a lot, but he's been fighting injury issues in his career. But DeAndre Hunter was the fourth pick for a reason, right? Everybody remember that as the Zion, John Morant, R.J. Barrett deal. But you got to think of who was number 4 in that draft, and that was a Hunter. You know, that was actually a pretty damn good draft when you look at it. Because Garland went number 5. So you got teams. Remember, I said the theme was move off the middle. If you're in the middle, move off the middle. Either move down or try to make a move to go, and try to give yourself a few more years of a run. So Hunter is one of these guys I think the league don't know about. Again, he's in Trae Young's shadow. I think one of the issues, and again, I know how good Trae Young is. I'm a critic of his but a lot of guys like Hunter, he's playing a defense that kind of hides a Trae Young. You know what I mean? And so you gotta kind of look at that from a certain aspect. What Cleveland gets with a Trae Young is big time. Again, you can start him, you can bring him off the bench because he did both of that in Atlanta. He's just now on a much better team. So yeah, I like what they got from him. Yeah. So Atlanta looks like Atlanta doing a wholesale movement, but they didn't say. I mean, so what is the future? Him, Trae Young and Reese Shea? I mean, it ain't like Reese Shea is a superstar in the making. He might be a nice player down the line, but I don't see any crazy upside there, even though he was the first pick. Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's kind of interesting what they're doing. I would have thought that they would have moved Trae Young, but he stays in Atlanta. Luka, think about this. Luka got traded again before Trae Young.
Still in Atlanta.
Trae Young is still in Atlanta. I mean, that's kind of crazy, but so I don't know what they want to do in Atlanta, but I think Atlanta realized they're mid, and they sold a few of their pieces off, but they're still mid. You get what I'm saying? Like they're still mid. So I would consider them one of the losers in this trade deadline. Because they didn't really get they didn't get better. They didn't get better in giving up the pieces they gave. Because it was another trade they did, right? They moved another one of their pieces.
I can't think of it off top, but yeah, they got rid of.
They moved out Bogdanovich. They moved Bogdanovich. Yeah.
Who do you go to?
Yeah, so it's like you're selling off pieces that again, he's a 3-point maker on your roster. I mean, I know you got Dyson Daniels, but again, I think Dyson Daniels is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. If not probably one of the 5-10 best perimeter defenders in the league. Yes. And he can hide a lot of what Trae Young isn't on defense. But again, you're giving up on Hunter. You lost Jalen Johnson for the season.
That was crazy to me.
Yeah, I don't like. They're still mid. They're still like you gave up pieces. I guess you got to lose something back, but you're still mid.
Yeah.
Again, mid is not what you mid like stuck in that mid zone. And trust me, as a Knicks fan, we were for 20 years we were below. Once the Ewing era ended, right, and we traded off Sprewell, and Houston was there, and then at the same time Houston was done, we got Marbury. We stayed mid for a long time, and you got to either be at the top of that lottery and get the next guy, or you got to be, a contender. And when you're not even making a playoffs in your mid, And that's where Atlanta. I know we have the play-in tournament thing going on, but if Atlanta sits in that 10 spot, and unless Richazé actually turns into what you thought you could get, I don't see it. Again, you win the lottery in a weak draft, despite having your main star there, and you still got solid pieces around them. You still got young, exciting talent, and you're mid. Again, when no Jalen Johnson ain't coming back with that shoulder this year, so I think they're one of the losers. Cleveland is a definite winner. Got better. You're in an elite situation record-wise, and you've gotten better. Washington is just selling. Washington is
wholesale mode. Yeah, they
wholesale mode. So but at least Washington is in the terrible mode again.
Yeah.
Detroit. I want to talk about Detroit because Detroit is mid, but they're mid with a bright future, right? They're mid with there's a chance of them getting back Ivy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they got a future, definitely star right now, and a future potential superstar, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren. They're gonna fight.
Fine. Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they're gonna get to the playoffs. I believe they're gonna get to the playoffs, whether it be
this season.
This season. I believe they're gonna be the playoffs. I do. Even if I would think they'd be a top 6 seed. I know earlier I said I think they could get the 4 seed. I still think they could. I still think that they can go on and win a few games. I think they're a tough team, a pesky team. So they're mid with a bright future though. They're mid with their main guy. That guy that is going to get. Cade Cunningham is going to get even better. Yeah, and the East is strong up top, weak in that middle.
Heavy. Very top. Heavy.
I guess Indiana didn't make any moves. I don't think they really had to. But they are who they are. They're upper mid. Put it that way.
They're upper mid. I think they're mid.
I think they're mid with the potential to get back to a conference finals, but I don't think they're gonna get there this year. But I think they, with the way they score and stuff like that, I think they always got a chance to make or at least get out the first round, maybe possibly second round, possibly conference finals in an all break right year. Like what happened last year, of course, with my Knicks and all those injuries. But they're mid, upper mid.
Yeah.
Guys that are stuck in that. I'm trying to think of any other team kind of stuck in that mid mode. I don't think Minnesota is. I think when you saw what's name hit the 48 last night. Yeah, they could have. I guess they're I think Randall was finally playing pretty well before he got hurt. He'll be out for another 2 weeks, but they're kind of surviving without him. Nas Reed is getting the opportunity to start. Rudy is just Rudy. You're just going to get rebounds and rim protection from him. You're not expecting much more. Maybe get a few dunks, lob dunks or whatever. They're mid, but they still got their guy. They still got Ant-Man, who should be one of the top 10 players, legitimately. Depending on how the season plays out. Again, those you're either bad or you're a contender, and you just don't want to. If you're gonna be mid, then either try to get better, get yourself to an upper mid where you can make a little run, or either or wholesale it. And like I said, I don't. Yeah,
I think the parity is. I think you said it right that the bad teams know they're bad and they're just going to be bad. The mid teams, they're mid, but they see the potential of what they can be. So they're not. I don't feel like they're really fighting too hard. For those playoff spots. I think they kind of see the writing on the wall. Because sometimes you have them pesky teams that can. Kind of like Indiana last year. I mean, they just looked up, but you have teams like that if you let them stick around, you let them, just get some confidence, they can beat any of the contenders. I don't feel that strong about teams like that this year. I think the top teams are the top teams and will probably go forward with no injuries, of course.
So let's look at a lower mid team who did well at the trade deadline, and I would say Toronto.
Oh, you think so?
Toronto, yes, because they got Brandon Ingram and they got him for basically nothing, right? So Brandon Ingram, when this kid actually, I don't know if it's his bones, but when this kid actually gets healthy, he is a borderline all-star. Again, he reminded a lot of people of KD. That's why he was the second pick.
Mm-hmm.
He's had his moments. But now you looking going forward, you add a center to this mix. You got Scotty Barnes, borderline all-star.
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram. RJ Barrett is playing very well. And I know this other guy, another former Knick of mine, Emmanuel Quickly, is having a rough season as far as injury wise, but he is a legit point guard. Like he's proven that he could be a legit point guard. And so you got that four, and you throw a center in the mix and you throw a nice rotation. See, think about this. If you're down, look at where OKC was, right? OKC was down, and they got their one guy to build around, and then they just kept bringing in good pieces. Next thing you know, first seed 2 years in a row, right?
Yeah.
Also, Detroit, who was the worst team in the league last year, just build, draft well. Now they're kind of where OKC was 2 years ago. In a couple of years, they might be where OKC is. So that progression of rebuilding, because again, I think you got to shout out to those teams that rebuild when they know it's time to rebuild, and you got to do it right. So Toronto is terrible, but they got talent. It's young, and you remember RJ Barrett is still only 24, 25. Emmanuel Quickly is only 25. Scotty Barnes is 23, 24. See, that's the other thing. If you're going to be bad, well, get young talent. Get young talent that's going to grow.
That's true. Yeah.
Get young talent is going to grow into their roles. But if you're going to be bad, if you're going to be mid, this is the problem. My problem with Golden State. You're mid with all 30-plus guys who we know. Yeah.
Not the way to go anymore.
It's not. You got to be. Look at Houston. Houston is another one that was terrible, and look where they at now, top 3. Even Memphis, they were terrible the first couple of years with Ja, the year before Ja. Now they're in that top upper echelon. So, look, a lot of these teams that want to go for the nostalgic. Remember what I said, nostalgia when it comes to you want to go for the nostalgic super teams. Look at Phoenix. Oh, Phoenix, mid. And what are you doing with it? I understand. So Phoenix then tried to get rid of KD, which was a big, he got an issue with. And they had to calm him down and say, I'm going to stay put. But I don't like the fact that y'all shot me. This is the business, KD. You knew it. When you left Golden State. And, him being surprised that Golden State wants to, look, Golden State say, listen, we never wanted you to leave. You wanted to go you wanted to go prove that you could do it without us. How's it working out for you? But, again, he would have been a better move than getting Butler. I guess if they were going to get that same package, they would have wanted KD and tried to put the band back together. But KD is like, nah, I'm good down here in Phoenix. So, again, but they're mid they traded up all their assets. See, that's the thing about this. I think the theme about it, because there's another reason why I want to call the Lakers one of the big losers. Because here's the problem. This is what we got to say. If this Luka and Mark Williams, another trade. I know he's a Duke guy, right? I should be, but Mark Williams has played 85 games in his 2.5 seasons.
Yeah, he
played 85 career games. Very injury prone. So you're taking a big chance, right? He has a taller standing reach than Wembanyama. His standing reach is higher than Wembanyama's. Where he's 9'9", almost touching the rim off his tippy toe. He has 1.1 block. Wembanyama has 5. You know why? Because like 3, 4, damn near 4, times when he getting 5 blocks every night. There's a reason for that. Williams is not. I saw him at Duke. He's not the most fleet-footed of guys. He's not the best lateral remover. So while he's going to give you a night, it's almost like another Roy Hibbert in a way when he's healthy, right? That 16 and 10 is actually 15.6, 9.6. That looks great, but he's only played 23 games this year, 25 games this year. So you're talking about a guy that's it's a gamble. And see, here's what what people are not understanding. The Lakers now have no tradable picks. They cannot trade a first-round pick. They traded one to get Luka. They traded one to get Mark Williams. That means you're kind of. I mean, you're either going to be trading guys off your own roster to get better if there's another need, or what? You're going to hope somebody can throw. You're going to hope a Utah can throw one of their 20 million picks out to help facilitate a trade.
Ain't gonna do that. No.
Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe the buyout market, but wait a minute, don't we have the new rule when you're I believe the Lakers will be 11.
Yeah,
second April team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't if a guy made more than 12.9, you cannot buy. Mind you, now we make the Lakers were living off the buyout market for years, and now we make that. My Knicks can't. We can't play in the buyout market, but that's all good. I mean, I would have wanted to, if Washington is buying out Middleton, I would have wanted to go that route, but it looks like he would be off the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a good pick for y'all.
Yeah, it would look. Yeah, but at the end of the day, again, I think the Lakers, they're not the biggest loser. Obviously, you get Luka. I'm giving them a C-. I'm giving them a C- because I do believe they. Yes, you lost Christie, you lost Connect. You lost AD. You lost some pieces to bring in Luka. We know what Luka is, but there's some risk to that. Again, how motivated is he to stay in shape? I mean, I saw the video. He looked more 240, 250 than he did 270. So that could have been a slander propaganda. But if this does not work out on the court, like Westbrook didn't, right? I saw the Westbrook move wasn't going to make. Now, he's a little bit different than Westbrook, being that he's a shooter. And just like you said, who's moving off the ball? Will they share duties? Will they share responsibilities? But if this huh?
I said, is LA going to blame Luka or are they going to blame LeBron? If this
they got it. You know what it is? They now know that Luka is firmly their future, and they would blame LeBron. They would blame LeBron. I mean, again, I don't see defensively. You're talking about 5 now slow-footed players. Like Rui Hachimura isn't the quickest player. I mean, right? So when they beat my Knicks on Saturday, you had Max Christie playing Jalen Brunson one-on-one. There's not too many guys that can play. There's not too many. Yeah, he did a very good job. And now you don't have that guy. And so you basically gave up your 2 best defenders, and then you brought in the center who, yes, can block some shots. But again, Mark Williams does not stay healthy. Okay, they got Vando back. Okay, another guy that's only played 53 games in the 2.5 seasons since he came to the Lakers. You're banking on a lot of injury-prone guys. And, I mean, maybe you catch lightning in a bottle and all your pieces are there and this, that, and the third. But 2 things, the perimeter defense is still an issue. And Mark Williams, while being a great rebounder, is not exactly the great rim protector that AD was. So, and not having any tradable first-round picks, and nobody will say this in Lakerland or who talks about the Lakers, but that's an issue. When you don't have a first-round pick you can trade, it's going to be hard to make a move if you need a new piece. If you're going to need another piece that will, like you might be still missing a piece. I think they're missing a perimeter defender, and I think they're missing an athletic type forward. If you're going to tell me Vanderbilt fits that athletic type forward and he doesn't get hurt again,
that's what they're banking on.
That's what they're banking on, but you're banking on a guy who's played 50 games in 2 full seasons. Again, and another guy that's played 82 games. And then you're talking about a 40-year-old who finally maybe not, you can probably count on LeBron to play 70 games. But then Luka, who had a non-contact injury with that calf on Christmas Day. I mean, again, listen. It's a huge gamble, and they better
I'll be
win
right
now.
back.
No problem,
Right.
no problem. So I
You can
hold it
go on.
down. Yeah, I believe they better win now. If the Lakers made themselves the most win now team in the thing, because again, even after LeBron retires, well, what are you going to put around Luka? You're going to have a draft pick. You're not going to have a draft pick this year. You will have it in 26, and you will have it in 28. But 2029 is gone. You're swapping in 30, and you're swapping and your pick is going in 31. So that makes it hard. I think a lot of people don't realize what draft role draft picks play. So when draft picks move, the more you can accumulate, the more it might be easy to facilitate some of these trades. And so the Lakers were going to have a hard time facilitating another trade with no tradable draft picks. So
I agree.
that's something. Yeah, that's something to just keep in mind. I'm not trying to. I had this conversation with a few Laker fan friends and LeBron fans.
A lot of fans around this.
Yeah, they mortgage the. See, there's a thing that's overused in sports, mortgage in the future, right? Get it? You mortgage the future. You gave up Connect, your first round pick of this year.
They will.
I mean, well, are we going to get to the point where Luka's going to be playing with Bronny? I'm just saying. Bronny don't got to worry about playing point guard with Luka, right? Okay, so maybe he'll. Yeah, but I mean, come on now. I mean, that's just the thing. So that's a thing there. That's a thing there. I believe the Lakers are probably the only team that don't control any of their own draft picks. I don't think they picked. No, they didn't pick up any because they would have been able to trade a draft pick that they picked up. So they don't have any tradable draft picks, and that's a big deal. I don't think they're the only team that doesn't have a tradable draft pick. They don't have a tradable first round draft pick. I know like people will say, "Oh, you're a Knicks fan, then y'all trade up 5 for," but we still have tradable picks because we accumulated other picks. And on top of that, we accumulated a lot of second round draft picks. Plus, we have a core that's in place. Everybody's under 30 years old. I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at it. Again, I know Luka being 20, he's be 26 the day before. Like he's a Pisces like me. March. I think he wasn't born on leap year. He was born in '99. Was he born in '99? Yeah, I think he was born in '99. So he'll be 26 this year. But he's born on the 28th of February. So yeah, that's the day before my birthday. You got to consider these things. It's not all just one. It's not all one thing or the other. Again, you got a team that's going for it. Obviously, Laker fans should be excited looking at Bron and Luka play. But if it's not working on the court like you think, you're kind of stuck with it. And you're kind of stuck with JJ Redick making them figure out what it is offensively and defensively they need to do. So that's just something to keep in mind. Yeah.
And we gotta stop thinking. Not all fans, but some fans think of this like in 2K. Like you get a great player in 2K. And put all the great players together, it makes the game easier because it's a game. But we actually have to put that on a court and figure out how each piece works. I figured this like if by some crazy means, if the Washington Wizards in 2002, 2003 was able to get Kobe Bryant from the Lakers and traded play alongside Jordan, and that looks good. It sounds good, but would those two work together? I don't think so. It wouldn't have. I don't think that would have turned that Washington Wizards team around because just like LeBron and Luka, they're kind of redundant. They do similar things, and they both like to have the ball in their hands. So one of them would have to give up the ball, and Jordan and Kobe are not guys that are not willing to give up the ball.
That's fair. Yeah. It's almost like I said this in one of my rants. I like to do analogies with other sports. If you had a team with Patrick Mahomes, right?
Mhm.
Would it make sense to trade for Jalen Hurts or
No.
yeah? And it's not the same because obviously you can play different positions, but it's the quarterback is and the star player are almost synonymous.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. They're almost just like the same thing. But so it's the same way you don't need two quarterbacks. You don't always need two alphas because somebody got to be the beta, right?
Yep.
Somebody's got to be the beta, and that's the thing. You got two guys whose game screams at you alpha. And one of the problems with LeBron and AD is LeBron was never really ready to be a beta, and he was never really ready to let AD be that alpha.
Exactly.
I get these problems with AD. With AD, look, AD's last full game. I know he got hurt in the next game, but AD's last full game, he went 43-25. So the idea that he wasn't an alpha, I mean, there were times when he was an alpha.
But yeah,
The
he
problem,
has a personality that will just kind of take the back seat to LeBron. He won't,
Yes.
it won't be pushback.
Very aloof.
Yeah.
He's a very aloof type guy. Like
Yeah.
I don't think he's really that rah-rah. I don't think he has that much of an ego, right? And I think he was fine not getting all the credit. I think AD didn't get enough of the credit that he deserved because in 6 years he played great on both sides. I know there was a few injuries, and his injuries were legit, right? His injuries were legit, and again, right? Laker fans, if you're gonna tell me AD was always in street clothes, well, you can't then tell me you get excited for a guy who's played 85 games in his first 2.5 years. Like Mark Williams had 2 full seasons. He's played 85 career games, guys. You know, so be a little cautious on that. Again, you guys tell me Vanderbilt is the next Dennis Rodman as far as a defender, right? He's played 55 games in your uniform. I mean, you traded Westbrook away. He came with the Westbrook trade. Y'all done had D'Lo and sent D'Lo out, and he's played 55 games. So you know, I mean, those are the few of the thoughts. Again, there was a lot of other teams made good moves. I'm gonna say the Lakers and the Hawks. The Hawks are big losers too. So the Hawks are one of the biggest losers. Golden State was the biggest loser in my opinion. And people would think, "Oh, we got Jimmy." No, listen, you got an old ass core.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe if Jimmy is playoff Jimmy again, the magic will be there. Philly, they made a move, right? But I don't see them making them better. It was a lateral move.
I think they kind of giving up this year. I think they know the writing's on the wall for them.
Difficult.
Yeah, they made a huge mistake signing Paul George for all that money, and I'm sure they tried to put out feelers for him to, does anybody want him? Take this money off the books?
Negative, bro.
Yeah, nobody's gonna take that contract. So.
Negative, and I'm a Paul George fan, bro. But I knew that the fit wasn't there. I seen the fall off. I mean, the injuries have caught up, and the age again. I know you guys see LeBron, and you think, well, and shout out to him for being in the great shape he is. There's a trade-off, and I don't want to preach against LeBron too much, and I ain't gonna want to do that on my own channel. But I will speak when I speak. The big trade-off with LeBron still producing is he plays no defense. He takes a lot of plays off on defense, and when you're playing one way, it will allow you to preserve those legs to get those spectacular dunks and stuff like that. But they're nice when LeBron comes out there looking very washed. They're nice when he come out there with no energy. Again, against my Knicks, I'm not going to speculate. But he looked a little interject that night, and I'll give him props for that. He did come out feisty. But again, can you count on that? Oh yeah, he knew. Okay, we talk about that. Listen, it's obvious that he knew. I didn't honestly, when it was asked of me, I didn't really care whether he knew or not. I was believing face value that the trade came together last minute. Then Rob Pelinka said, "Oh, me and Nico was talking about this for 3 and 3 weeks to 4 weeks. First he said 3 weeks, and then he said 4 weeks. So, I mean, was it 3 or 4? I mean, God, I mean, come on, somebody come and say, "Do you want Luka?" You know exactly what the date it was. You remember where you were standing when somebody will come and say you want Luka if you in Rob Pelinka's position. So the idea that LeBron, you know what it is, if LeBron has said nothing, or if LeBron, when you protest too much, it shows a bit of guilt. Had he said nothing, but LeBron always never wanting to. That's the thing, never wanting to be the bad guy.
He wanted to blame. So.
He could say, well, I mean, he could have said, I heard something, but I didn't. That's not my job. I'm not the GM. Blah blah blah. Or he could have just said, listen, that's never. Even if I did hear through the grapevine, I'm never one to put my input in it. But you know how it is, man. Like he can never be the bad guy, and obviously, being that him and AD had got that rapport, and they were running buddies for 6.5 years or 5.5 years. It's obviously you don't want to, but he wanted to play with Luka. We know that. We can see that because I watched his little press conference, or a little in the locker room after the game, because I think that was the first game. Last night's game was after the Clippers game. That was the first game that they played since the Knicks, and that's when the news broke down. So that's the first time reporters got a chance to question him one-on-one. And it was a little bit of smirking going on. It was a little bit of written on, the term. It was written all over your face. Yeah, you knew. I mean, ain't no way the mighty power broker Rich Paul had a client that was about to get traded and knew nothing about it. There's no way. And if Rich Paul knew, best believe you knew, Mr.
Exactly. It was just something about his demeanor Saturday playing against the Knicks. I just felt like something had energized him to the point where he was, he was smiling and just, he was loose.
And they came out with the same energy against the Clippers the next game. So
I think he's got a player. He's got one of the top 5 players in the NBA now that he gets to work with. So his job is even easier. So he's gonna show you I can still do it, but now I can let him do it for a while, and then I can take over when needed. That's gonna be the question now. When Luka starts missing the shots that he normally takes, especially in the fourth quarter, if Luka tries to do what he did in Dallas, and LeBron doesn't touch the ball, then we're going to see what his character really is, and if he really is ready to pass the torch. Because I don't see it. I don't think he hasn't had it. He's had, like I said, he had an AD who was kind of okay being in the background and let him.
Just very aloof person, very aloof personality.
I don't think Luka's going to be that type of guy. So
Luka's a guy, and that's one of the issues that I have with Luka, where I love Luka and the Joker, but the Joker is a guy, he can take 5 shots and dominate a game. Luka is not going to take 5 shots in any game.
No.
And so, these end of the game, like I said, is LeBron ready to play the Scottie Pippen role? Because I think he should have. I think he's been in it low key. It's just that there were just times where, and I think this is one of the things that held the Lakers back in this era, where LeBron would just not relinquish the wing. He would just not. Look, there was one part. I said this a lot with my Laker fan friends. There was one part where, if you go back and look at it too, LeBron was getting about 28, 29, 20, 28, 27 points a game. AD is getting 26, 27 points a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how many games would you see where both of these guys got 30? For two guys to be, you didn't see a lot. So it was either one night is his night or one night is LeBron's night. And that's a little weird, because you would think, right? 2 guys is getting you 27. They both would give you. You would think they would be nice, but both of them get you 40, but they wouldn't even get you 30 most of the time.
No, not both in the same game. No,
in the same game, and that's a big because you would think, there'll be nice where okay, they blew the other team out, so neither one of them got 20. So neither one of them got 25 because they didn't even have to play the 4th quarter. But no, they were never that good, and that's the thing. Like the Lakers Let's keep it real. Outside of the first year, where I know we say the bubble championship, but they were legit. They were legit 1 seed that year. They were legit good that year.
Bubble, yeah.
So yeah, even though I still think the Clippers were technically better than them that year and proved it in their dads and all that. If the Clippers didn't get bored in the butt, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, but outside of that year, the Lakers have been mid. They have not been mind you, they went to the play-in tournament the year after that. They've been in the play-in tournament. They've only been out the first round one other year.
Yeah.
So that's the other. I mean, one thing, right? Was the '80s trade the success y'all that certain people want to make it out? Again, the championship is a championship, but we're going on 5 years, and you've only been out the first round one other year. Was that the big? Yeah.
So that may, we do have GOAT Talk only tomorrow night. That could be a potential topic. Was Anthony Davis, was his years a failure in LA?
Yeah. That's a really good, because I have that debate a lot. And again, because one of the other themes, right? Okay, they won a championship that particular year, but AD was expected to go, and let's say New Orleans decided not to trade him. We don't like the package. We're not going to trade him. Well, then AD would have definitely come in the 2020 off season, which we know was kind of shortened by the COVID situation, right? But you wouldn't have had to give up the draft picks. And, again, think about this: DeAndre Hunter was the first draft pick.
Yeah,
that was the Lakers pick. They got the fourth. That was traded. Yeah, that was New Orleans owned it, and they traded back. I believe Dyson Daniels was one of the picks, one of the players picked with the Lakers. So it was a lot of guys that could have been in this rotation with the Lakers now. And again, the Lakers, again, Rui Hachimura was they gave up a bunch of second round picks for him. Austin Reed was a steal, right? Undrafted free agent who turned into a solid player. But I mean, look, Josh Hart was traded away. We know Lonzo Ball and his knee problems, but now Lonzo Ball got a 2-year bag. Again, he's still a great defender when he plays. If he's able to be relatively healthy the rest of his career, I mean, again, Brandon Ingram, you might have would have had to let him go to get AD in here, but you would have kept mostly everything else. And that's just so. I mean, what a big what if. Had they waited, they had to let Caruso go because they couldn't afford it's a lot of guys that, when I say, because what happens with Laker fans is, well, they want to compare those guys that was traded for AD to AD. It's not the point. You could have got AD and kept a lot of those guys, and that would have been your supporting cast.
All your complementary pieces already there. So
thank you. And I think that's what, again, the supporting cast is very important, because that's what I say. Everybody can't be the star. You get too many superstars. Again, this is Phoenix's problem. You got 3 guys that can score 30, but you got 3 guys that not going to score 30. Like all 3 of them guys, like Bradley Beal now has to come off the bench, and they had to give up. They had to trade Nurkic for next to nothing, right? So, you got to be careful about how you build those teams, because it's almost like that analogy I said. Getting 2 alphas is like getting 2 star quarterbacks on the same roster. Not only that, they're taking up your cap space. You would never build a football team like that, right? You need a defense. You need an offensive line. You need receivers. You need a tight end. And you got to fit that all under the hard cap. And remember now, the NBA has unofficially made themselves a hard cap with these salary cap aprons. Because once you over a certain apron, you're very restrictive in the moves you can make. I think that's why Utah had to be, because the Lakers probably had restrictions on what salary they can move. There's no longer it used to be you could get within 15%. Now when you're in the apron, the salary cap apron, you have to match dollar for dollar. It's almost dollar for dollar you have to match when you make a move. and that makes it harder to make moves based on salary cap. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things to consider, man. I always like to look deeper in the bigger pictures and stuff. I know everybody sees the big names and but there's also some things,
This decade is a decade of team basketball and putting together the right team. We've seen,
most definitely.
From Milwaukee to Denver, even Golden State, they had to put together, a
right
solid
crew,
team,
right mix,
complementary players.
When Draymond Green got the opportunity, when David Lee went down with the injury, that's when Golden State took off. So think about that. It's not just the star you see. There's so many more.
Yeah, I think Phoenix and even the failed experiment in Brooklyn shows you that just getting the top names isn't going to move the needle anymore. You got to you got to work through the draft. You got to work through, just smart free agency. You got to sign guys that are going to complement your stars, not just guys that can do a certain thing that looks good on paper and looks good in a 2K, but not on a court, because you kind of cancel each other out trying to, score all these points and do all these different things. You got to have those complementary pieces. And I think that's what, teams are seeing now. You can't just sign that big name. You got to sign, the little names around them and then try to get that big name. But, you got to lay a foundation and then build upon that if you want to win a championship.
Yeah, think about Phoenix is one cautionary town. It's unfortunate in KD because it's part of his legacy, right? Yep. Two teams that are cautionary tales where you had Brooklyn and Phoenix who did this, where you went and got a third star that you really didn't need. Because you had the 2 stars should have been good if you got the better complementary pieces. Like think about this. The Brooklyn trade kind of set Cleveland up. The Brooklyn trade kind of set Cleveland up because you get Jared Allen and Caris LeVert out of that deal, among other few other pieces. You got the draft picks and all that. So and then on top of that, then they go and get because that deal sent James Harden again. They did not need James Harden. They didn't need it. I saw that coming. And then Phoenix did again. You went and go get a Bradley Beal because he's available. He's the hot name. But the GM who made that deal never really realized how does Bradley Beal fit this mix, and it didn't fit. And then you take it. You trade DeAndre Ayton, which is why I'm a critic of. But you go and get Nurkic, who I mean, even worse on defense. I know he can rebound, but he doesn't fit. And again, you get these high salary albatrosses sitting on your roster.
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, fans, stop looking at these Sports Center highlight. This is what's going to make our team. No. Think about my Knicks, right? I said this last night. I said, look, when we get rid of Sims, Ariel Hukporti will be Ariel Hukporti. Who the hell is that? Well, for you guys to say if the Lakers didn't draft Bronny James, who would they have drafted? Well, Ariel Hukporti right there. Ariel Hukporti the other night, like I said, he guarded Scotty Barnes into a 1-for-9. Like I saw it in my own eyes, and I said I'm a big fan of him. Us Knicks fans, we nickname him the Incredible Hulk. Again, right? Oh my, who is this? The last pick of the draft this year, right? But we got to steal because while he I mean, obviously I'm not gonna make him out like to be like he's Wilt Chamberlain, but he isn't for where we picked him, and I've seen him make a few nice. I've seen him with the poster dunk on Cleveland in the Cleveland game, and they called that an offensive foul. But he's made some incredible moves. I had Carl Frazier said he reminds me of Bill Russell. The great Walt Clyde Frazier, who played against Bill, but obviously he's not Bill Russell, but he says the way he jumps straight up, to block the shot. I'm excited because by subtracting Sims, he now goes higher up in the rotation. Therefore, we don't have to worry about Tibbs giving those backup center minutes to Sims. You know, and when Mitchell Robinson comes back, he can still be the backup center. We can move Karl Anthony Towns more to the full-time 4. You know, so again, sometimes sometimes those little moves that you think mean nothing, they mean a lot. Okay, here's the thing, right? Okay, think about this. 2 years ago, what was the big move that Dallas made at the trade deadline?
2 years ago,
they got Mr. Irving, right? After the whole situation with the Amazon thing, right? So they got Mr. Irving. They gave up pretty much Spencer Dinwiddie, I believe, and they got Spencer Dinwiddie back, right? Yeah. Okay, so they got Spencer Dinwiddie. What happened at the end of that season? They wound up tanking out of the play-in to keep their draft pick from the Knicks. Right?
Oh yeah.
They traded for Kyrie and didn't make the playoffs with Luka and Kyrie. Now, what did they do last year? What did they do last year to trade deadline?
What did they do last year?
P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford.
Yeah, Daniel.
Not the biggest names, right? Not Daniel Gafford. Yeah,
great pieces for them.
Great pieces that completed what they were trying to do, and they made it to the finals. See, so sometimes those non-sexy moves are the moves you need to make. The moves that weren't sexy, So you got to think about what's on your team. Would you trade for? It's like in the football, you're trading your defense away for another receiver to your star quarterback, but now you can't defend and you don't make the playoff. Well, then you go out. What do? You got to go fix the defense. Now you fix the defense. Now you can make a run to the Super Bowl. Those are the type of things you got to consider when you guys are looking at these deals and judging these deals. So that these are the things that I kind of get in. A lot of
that's why some of these why these little trades like what the Bucks did and even Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look on paper. They don't look like why they didn't really need that.
Yeah, why are we talking about this? Why it's not sexy? Yeah. Blah blah blah. But these are the wheels
pieces of me. Yeah.
Yes. So again, I mean, there's gonna be other examples that I could think of where the minor move kind of was the better move. The great move, the Bradley Beal move.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bradley Beal I think he had a trade kicker and a no trade clause, and that's what they're talking about too now. How the guys in Phoenix look? You didn't want to. Look, I'm Bradley Beal. You think I want to go? You think I want you sending me to Charlotte? Yep. You think I want? I'm in a nice Phoenix. For I hear Phoenix is very chill. The weather's good. He said I want to go. If you're gonna send me, you got to send me to Miami. Well, Miami don't want him.
The players that contract. Who wants all that?
But you know what? When you get to I always say this, right? So for the I know we're gonna I know you don't want to go all night, but for the Dennis Schroeder, look, for the Dennis Schroeder world who says, again, modern day slavery. Listen, there's people that got to go out there and work real jobs, and I get it. It sucks having to, he probably was in an apartment in San Francisco, and those aren't exactly cheap, right? No. But I mean, you're getting an NBA bag, all right? And I get it. You are a person, and you might have family with you. He might have some people from Germany to stay with him. Now y'all gotta. If he's in Utah, he gotta go move to Utah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But understand this. Look at Bradley Beal. Your agent can get you a no. There is no criteria for getting a no trade clause in your contract. Get a no trade clause. Don't cry to us, people that gotta actually work for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Get your agent to trade either a trade kicker, because again, if you're good, you can get a trade kicker. All right, you gonna move me? Well, okay, 15% of my salary. Go. I'm gonna give a 15% trade kicker. That'll mitigate some of the costs of having to move, right? Okay. Or get a no trade clause. Yeah. You can do that.
And a player like him, count your blessings, because this might be a blessing in disguise. You might get on a team that you never know. You could, Denver, somebody that's in the running for, as a contender, could pick you up, and now you go from just the middle of the pack to potentially an NBA champion. You never know, and your value.
If he gets bought out, if I was him, I want to go to New Orleans, They just lost.
Oh, yeah.
Go to a place. Go to a place that's gonna give you playing time.
We get plenty
Where
of playing there.
yeah, they might be tanking, but you could go put up some empty numbers
Yep.
and
Get you
showcase
the
yourself.
contract.
Yeah. So these are, I mean, again, listen, I'm at the point where everybody in the NBA is younger than me, and most of the coaches are younger than me. I would, if I had them into these guys, I'd tell them, listen, first of all, stop the ring chasing. The
Yep.
idea of going to a team and this team is going to win, you don't know, man. You don't know. Nobody had Dallas going to the finals last year. I mean, Boston was knocking on that door, but nobody had Dallas going to the finals last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, you go stop thinking this team is going to win. This team, I got to give myself the best chance to win. That day is over. The dynasty super team era is over. Stop doing that. If you're in a position where you are a Dennis Schroeder, go to a team that you can showcase your talent, and you might just hit lightning in a bottle. I know he went to Toronto last year. When Toronto traded for Isaiah quickly, his number was up. So he goes to Brooklyn this year. Brooklyn trades him. Again, it is what it is. At least you don't got to worry about getting traded again this year, right? Trade deadline's over.
Nice contract. You never know.
Yeah, man. So again, those are just words of advice and things to kind of look at. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you remember another trade deadline this lit?
Never.
Never.
I'm 44 years old, but never.
Yeah, especially the recent ones. Nothing this lit. Never.
No, you be twiddling your thumbs on a trade deadline day. You might get maybe one surprising trade that you can talk about, but it'd be like a role player, maybe a perennial all-star guy.
Jay Crowder for Damari Carroll type of deal.
Yeah, but
I'm like, damn.
No 80s, no the Aaron Foxes, none of that. This one has been the best trade deadline in years. I won't say decades, but even then, I mean, I remember one where
I can't remember.
Nobody, a top 5 player got traded. No, that usually happens off season. So
and you talk about two arguable top 5s, and maybe definitely probably top 10 players traded in the same deal. I mean, that just never happened. It never happened.
In the same conference.
Same conference. Same conference. And you got Danny Ainge. So, that was wild too. Danny, did I know I was helping the Lakers? I didn't know I was helping the Lakers get Luka. That's kind of, it's kind of a little, like, whoa, this is how trades get done sometimes. Yeah, this is how the trades get done sometimes. You got to get the third team in. Are you gonna take this because we need to shed some, or we need to give some salary. I'm trying to make another deal or whatever. I'm trying to make a deal down the line. So it's almost like, I guess Nico had, because he obviously didn't talk to Pelinka. So Nico called Ainge and said, "Will you take this and this and blah blah blah, and we'll come back on it." That's a little interesting behind the curtain peek.
This has definitely been a eventful couple of days, and I think if everything plays out like it should, and we hope so, there's going to be a lot of interest in the NBA going forward. I mean, I hear people talking about, the Super Bowl isn't even been talked about because of the huge Luka AD trade. So I mean, it is buzzing. It is a big buzz right now. So.
They said it was like you said, it was the commish. And again, I think it probably, I think he was very permissive on certain things, and I think he, a couple of other, obviously this the Ainge thing, right? Ainge could have agreement. Oh, they didn't fool me. They didn't even tell me about the full trade. That, which is kind of wild, but obviously you can look another way. But yeah, you take Super Bowl, got no buzz. I think because they played this game already, and I know Barkley wasn't there. But I think people are gonna watch the Super Bowl. It's gonna be a great bet. It's gonna be a better game than the build up would tell you. But then the NBA is gonna take top center. Next thing you know, pitches and catches will be I think pitches and catches already reported for baseball. For those who are baseball fans, right? I know that the pitchers and catcher thing has always bored me. Like, oh,
Mhm.
pitcher's throwing to a catcher. Where the hitters at? But but that baseball will be here back in but NBA should have a nice playoffs.
Yeah, the
Again,
Lakers, the Mavs. I think now the Spurs. A lot of teams are going to have eyeballs on them now, and people want to see will this work. You want Wemby in the limelight. It gets easier now that he has another All-Star level player. You got all these teams getting better, and these are teams that people potentially will watch. So I think
you got the think about this. You got the Knicks, Celtics. I don't think the Lakers are truly contenders, but they are buzzworthy. But
yeah.
you got the Knicks, the Celtics. Who's the other? I mean, Dallas is a big market.
Yeah.
So you got some of the big markets in Houston's another big market.
I mean, Golden State, I guess, because you throw in the Jimmy stuff. So
yeah,
he's.
I mean, as long as Steph Clever, so you got a lot of you got. And everybody else is. Cooper Flag is a couple of other guys. Cooper Flag is going to be a generational talent. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if he's going to like hit right away. I'm not sure if he's going to be, but with so many things that he does, and he's I think, God, especially while going to the NCAA, where you have to do so much more to make plays. I think it's going to be once he gets into the wide open NBA space in a couple of years, he is going to be good as advertised. And so therefore
he'll need some time.
And like they all do, everybody needs a little time.
Yeah.
But once you got these NBA wide open dunking lanes and stuff like that, and he is a good passer, a good ball handler. His shot is pretty good.
He torched us. That's
all I can say. Man. So man, this was a good show, bro.
I agree.
Let me tell you something. I will say this, bro. I know you I don't know if you were asleep when the news came in and y'all had to get up and get on, and all the content creators came. I just happened to already be on talking about the Knicks Laker game, and it just so happened. So,
I was eating. I was actually eating. We were having a late dinner, me and my wife.
I
was in Virginia Beach at a hotel because we were doing our early Valentine's because she has to travel on Valentine's. So we went ahead and did it last weekend.
Okay.
I was over there eating a sandwich, and my son called me. He's yelling. He's a Luka fan, so he's yelling Luka to the Lakers. I'm thinking he's lying. And ESPN hadn't even picked it up yet. So I was like, I don't see it nowhere. So this can't be true. So when I saw it was true, Big Knives called me and we was like, yeah, we got to do something because we got to hit this while it's hot. So, that's how. So, but tomorrow night, I believe you'll be joining us tomorrow night for GOAT Talk only. And I think we might have our topic. So, so hopefully you guys will join us there. I appreciate you guys coming out, watching, join us to talk about these crazy trades and what the future of the NBA or this season has in store for us. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. We're getting close to that 200 sub mark, which is our next goal. So if you can help us out, please like and subscribe to the channel so we can get to that elusive 200 subs. And we got a lot of stuff we got cooking up. I believe my man Big King Speech, we're going to try to get him a show coming up soon so he can have his platform to do his thing. Hopefully coming next week. I'm not sure which day or what time, but he's going to have his show, and of course basketball with Big Nige, myself, GOAT Talk only, the podcast every week right here usually on Tuesdays, but we're doing it Thursday tonight to just so we can overview the trade deadline. Excuse me. Anything you got before we close out the show?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm hoping to debut next week. I wanted to do like a little test run this week, but it didn't work out for me. It didn't, like yesterday. I kind of was So I got ready for today, and I did a little live on the little quick live on. I mean, a little quick rant on the trade deadline stuff. A little 8-minute video, nothing. But yeah, definitely I'm looking to get more consistent, dropping more content. All-Star games coming up the week after the Super Bowl, so that might be a good time to just kind of get into some mid-season talk about what's going on in the association. And I think we're gonna. What I'm looking at ideas to do it, but I'm gonna start off with just start off with a little popcorn style, get a couple of guys up there, and we just talk about the game, talk about what's going on. And, I want to try to make it interactive. If guys are listening, they can want to call in and add to the conversation. Can always do so. But yeah, man, just trying to. I get my thoughts on the game, and I had a friend call me oh, you think you're a basketball savant? Nah, I just talk the game. I'm honest with it.
Yeah,
I'm honest with it. And I catch little things like LeBron said he know nothing about the what's the name, but meanwhile, your GM was negotiating for a few weeks on it. So, I mean, bro, I mean, come on, we put 2 and 2 together over here, bro. 2 + 2 = 4 in my house. So,
exactly.
But yeah, again, it is what it is, bro. Like you're not exactly the worst person in the world if you did know. And again, it's not your decision to make. It's not your franchise, despite evidence, despite thoughts of the contrary. Still, Mrs. Buster's franchise, and Rob Pelinka runs it. But so
yeah, I mean, AD's still gonna be a friend. He's still gonna get paid, so it's not like he ain't gonna get paid.
He's still your label mate too, right? The Clutch Sport, the Clutch Sport label mate. Think about this, everybody Clutch Sport's a family, right?
Exactly. So
I got my feelings about. Yeah, I got my feelings about the Clutch Sport family and the little operation they got going on over there. But we'll say that for another day. I'll probably talk about it on my show.
About those, there's a few of them floating around this YouTube stratosphere. But with that said, we're going to end it for tonight.
2 hours. Yeah, we had to get a lit one after this. This week was a where were you week type of shot.
Exactly.
Shout out to Shams too, bro. Shout out to Shams Johnny. I know he's a new top guy after Woes retired. Yeah, so but he kept us all up on it and everything.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, CW.
All right, guys. So we're out for the night, and we will see you guys tomorrow night for GOAT Talk only. So appreciate you guys showing up.
Salute.